9 o'clock.
Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Fan Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
If you're a fan of comic books and comic book conventions, Daytona Beach Comic Con needs to be on your list of must-attend events. It's a show that actually focuses on comic books. Imagine that! This year's event is happening on Saturday, September the 6th, and Sunday, September the 7th. Silverline creators will be there, so we'll see you at the show. There's a new convention in town, and it's sure to be mega fun without the mega expense. Comics, toys, collectibles, pop culture. ShadowCon, Saturday, February 1st, 2025 in Orlando, Florida. Silverline creators will be there, so we'll see you at the show. If you find yourself in the Orlando area, and let's be honest, doesn't everyone come to Orlando for the House of Mouse? Head over to Coliseum of Comics to get your comic book fix. Be sure to check out their location on East Colonial Drive, where they carry a wide selection of independent comics, including Silverline books. Stop by and don't forget to tell them Silverline sent you. Hey, if you're an independent comic creator looking to get your comic printed, look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our comics and do a fantastic job. They can even print special edition covers. When you reach out to them, be sure to tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday nights as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another Wednesday Wednesday Wham!
Slam.
Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, we are not Copper Twine Comics, we are Silverline. Yes, welcome to our show. We have an exciting show tonight because we are doing yet another crowdfunder, and it is for the wonderful, wonderful comic, which is I'm more than happy to endorse and promote, but we'll get to that in a minute. So let's introduce ourselves, our regular cast and crew. Let's start with ladies first. How's it going there, Barb?
Going good. Cassisi's not joining us tonight. He's wrapped up at work and
he might show up.
Pop in. Yeah, I hope so. Pop in later. My name's Barb Kilberg, as most of you guys already know. Inker of 35 years for everybody under the sun, and as of the last 6 years, I'm also a writer and a colorist, and I am also the CFO of Silverline Comics. And I've just caught up on the books today when I sent out a bunch of emails to the big head honchos. Yes, Roland and BJ. I need this. I need that.
Awesome.
Same yep.
Oh boy. Yeah. All right. My turn.
Take it away, Rob.
Okay. I'm Rob Davis. I've been in the comic book industry since 38 years, 37 years, somewhere in there. And I've drawn everything from ancient past like Merlin to the far-flung future with Captain Kirk and Spock and stuff in between. And for Silverline, I have done the 4 issues of Twilight Grim that came out earlier this year, and I'm also working on a secret project, which we are dropping hints every now and again. Last week, Barb dropped a hint, and maybe during the show we'll drop another one. But anyway, also I have been asked to, and I have been tasked with asking all of you folks watching us on YouTube, either live or in recording, like and subscribe, please. And I'll mention that again at the end of the show.
I was going to say live or Memorex, but half our audience wouldn't even know what that
meant. Yeah, but that helps us out, and it also allows you to know when we're having new shows. So like and subscribe to the Wednesday Wham, and that way we'll be sure to see you every week. All right.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Empress of Inks, thank you for joining us tonight. And Venerable Illustrator Rob Davis, thank you so much for joining us as well. I'm Martin Mertonen, and I am the colorist of this wonderful book called Wolf Hunter. And I colored that cover and all the interiors of issue 1 and issue number 2. This is the foil cover, which is nice and shiny.
Shiny.
And I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but yeah, and I colored that cover and all the other 2 covers and all the insides of this book too. And that was a blast, and this turned out spectacular in my opinion. I mean, it's really strange seeing your own work after the fact, and then you realize you're looking at it and you go, that looks really good. Who did that? And you're like, oh. So I'm sorry for tooting my own horn a little bit, but the book turned out way better than I ever expected it to. So it just looked really good.
Well,
the team did a fantastic job.
One of the things too is it looks different on the screen than it does printed. So
yes, that's right.
It does look different. So now you have a better idea of what that transformation is. Yeah.
And there's the old school cover. So yeah. So collectors, go find that. So and ask
we've just recently started doing the foil covers within the last year, and they seem to be very popular. I know.
Really?
I know Divinity looked great on foil. Of course, Divinity looks great and everything. So.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. All right. So we are supposed to have our guests showing up any minute now. So
somebody just sent him the link. So.
Yeah, and speak of the devil.
Yeah, there we go. Brent!
Everyone, it's been so long.
Yeah, Brent.
Welcome! It's been way too long. This is our special guest. We just mentioned his name, and there he is. Boom.
Wait, that was it. It was that easy to summon everybody I wanted to see.
For the shirt color.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Hi, Roland.
And Roland, hey. Yeah, wow. So, all right. Brent, this is such an honor to have you on tonight because I don't know if you know this or not, but I've been endorsing your book left, right, and center every single chance I get because Kayless, which is the book we are going to talk about tonight, is the ultimate dad comic.
Thank you.
I think you'll take that as what it is.
As the compliment it's meant to be. Yeah.
Yes.
I do.
So Brent, give us a very, very quick rundown of who you are and what you've done for Silverline.
Sure. Well, I'm Brent Larson. I've been. Let me see. I work with a filmmaking and production group. That's my day job. But I also love writing my own projects on the side. And a few years ago, I got to know Roland, and he was just putting together Silverline at the time. And I told him, hey, man, I have this. I think it's a cool idea. I don't know if anyone else would. And he was like, oh, tell me about it. And he helped me shape the story, and then he said, well, I can help you figure out how to get artists. And I'm like, well, cool, that sounds really cool. At this time, I'm like, I can't actually believe this is happening because I've read comics since the single digits, and the idea of actually being able to do it for myself. It was like I'm still kind of reeling at the whole thing, but anyway, so I find a couple of Argentinian artists online, and actually I get on penciljack.com, and I say, hey, I have this comic book idea, and I have a script, and I need an artist, and I got submissions from all over the world. It was the craziest thing, but I found a couple of guys I thought were really great. And Roland was like, well, I'm starting at Silverline. You maybe have us publish your book? I'm like, yes, that sure beat my plan B, which was to put it in a drawer and then hope somebody found it in 100 years and did something with it then. So this was much better. So yeah, and that was, what was that, 2020 or something like that. But yeah, and since then, we're kickstarting the what amounts to the 7th issue, and it's fantastic.
We can't drop it yet. We will be dropping the link in
asking us to drop the link, but we're not ready.
45 minutes, or about 9:45 is apparently when it's going to come down. So we're gonna
build to the climax.
Yes, we are going to hype this puppy up the wazoo. So
This is
and then hopefully we can get you guys to. I'm going to do my best to sell this to you guys because I love this book so much. It is such a good book. Now, that said, you also wrote this, correct? Cape Town, this is your...
I did write that, yes.
Yes, so Brent
That
also
is the
wrote
other
Cape
book.
Town, so if you guys have not seen this as well. Now, I have some thoughts about this and Kayless. Because
you only get one.
There's some...
No, I'm just kidding.
I only get one thought? No, okay, yeah. So yeah. So, all right. So we're going to kind of go through the books, and if you have any pages that you think are like absolutely stellar and whatnot, call them out from whichever issue, and we'll pop them up on the screen, and we'll go through that, and we'll just talk about the whole kind of milieu of what's going on and where it came from and how it came together and whatnot. So, Kayless, if you guys don't know, ladies and gentlemen, is this wonderful story about a guy who falls out of space, and he happens to be invulnerable. And so this is our first issue, and if you look very carefully to your lower right corner here, you will see there's a set of eyes coming out and maybe some hands coming out of this crater.
Very subtle.
And this is our protagonist who has fallen from space and has started his journey. So, all right, now there's a lot of stuff going on in here. Like, so how did you come up with this?
How did I come up with? How do you come up with them? Yes. Okay. So, to tell you the truth, this is just the creative process, and you guys can all relate to this, but I had the idea like 20 years ago. And it was just that idea like, okay, I love superheroes and I love comic books. And Superman crash lands to Earth, and because of the yellow sun, suddenly a guy who is normal is now Superman. I mean, that's kind of a way to interpret it. So I had this thought, well, what would happen if someone from Earth crash landed on another planet? And they got powers. But, Clark Kent had the benefit of a Midwestern upbringing with some very nice conservative parents. What would happen if these are just normal people? Would disaster happen? Would lots of intrigue happen? And the answer is, well, it's a comic book. It had better happen or no one would care. So that was the germ of the idea. But kind of as I was thinking through the idea, I kept thinking of this thought, okay, but someone going to another planet and doing stuff sounds interesting, but what if he then had to leave the planet? Would he want to come back? If he had the opportunity to go back home, would he take it to just be a normal guy again? And then it started to just germinate. Well, I mean, what kind of society was he in? Would they be happy? Would they fear him? Would he, and then I just started to, also whenever you're writing a story, you kind of put yourself into the story. And I keep thinking, well, what would I do if I was in an alien society? I think I'd like to think I'd be a great guy and want to help them out, especially if there was like a war going on. I would want to choose the right side, but how would I know what the right side was? And all this existential stuff that doesn't really translate into really cool action unless you then, put in some really cool action. But anyway, that's a really long answer to the question of, I don't know. I love superhero stuff, but I also love the adult sensibility that comes with these questions of, with great power does great responsibility. I mean, yes, we need that, but we shouldn't guarantee it. And there's a lot of superhero deconstruction going on in pop culture today, and some of it's good and some of it's really depressing. And I wanted to try it without, frankly, being so depressing. So,
Where did the name Kayless come from?
Right.
Okay, you know what? We're on the 7th issue. I might as well just tell everyone. Okay, so the story is set up where there's a rift in space, and Scott Anders is the protagonist, and he launches into space as part of the CIA-backed space race. Yes, that actually predated Neil Armstrong and everything, so that's kind of fun. But the name actually, as it turns out, comes from a Latin term called the Caeleste Via, which means the shining path in Latin. And it's kind of it's just a shortened version of that name. But the name came from, and this is something I'm just about ready to pop into the story, the original inhabitants called it that. But it actually goes by another name, and I can't tell you what that is right now. But suffice to say, it represents first the rift, the Kayless Rift, they call it. And then once Scott arrives in this place where he's been for all this time, they call it more like a window, the Kayless window. And eventually it just comes to refer to this big mission. Where has he been all this time? Why does he need to get back to the Kayless Rift? And that's kind of the story that I've been building. So what he's been trying to do all this time, and I'll give you more spoilers just because it'd be great if people bought it and wouldn't get lost. But Scott Anders wasn't alone. There were actually 4 other astronauts with him. And they were all in this other place. And then for reasons that will be explained in issues 3 and 4 of the current series, they had to leave. And that's what sent them crashing back to Earth. And now what Scott and the rest are trying to do is get back to the Kayless Rift, which, as you know, you can't go into space that easily these days unless you are Katy Perry or somebody like that. And they're not, them. So, yeah. So that's kind of also part of their journey. Yeah. So,
all right. So, yeah. So I've been jumping around here a little bit in issue 1. But I am absolutely fascinated by your pacing, your storytelling, and the depth, and you're jumping back and forth through time. So you're spanning a broad history, and you're also telling the story in these interesting snapshots. How did you go about deciding how you were going to tell the story in this fashion, or did it just come naturally?
Well, what's funny? That's a great question. And I know the answer. What's funny is time has passed since I did the first issue. You guys remember Lost, right?
Oh,
the
yeah.
Show?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of Gen Z people are going, I don't know what that is, but my dad just won't shut up about it. Well, okay. The cool thing about the show was, do you remember they'd each have a character that'd be highlighted in that episode, but then they'd have a flashback to the character's past,
How
and
they came to be on the plane.
how they came to be on the plane, but also how they came to be who they are. And what's funny is writing wisdom says you shouldn't mess with flashbacks. I love them because I love seeing a person, in comics, but I also want to know who they really are. And our experiences, our memories are kind of what dictate who we are. And as such, I want to know what the big decisions were. So our main character, Scott Anders, is this guy who crash lands on Earth, is invulnerable. Why does he want to get back into space? Is it because he just loves being a superhero? And the answer is no. It's because he has a past that is really pretty jacked up. And I wanted to kind of build who he was, not just frankly because I really like people to know my characters, but because I have a very clear idea of how the story is going to end and who he was and who he grew up to be. His mother was murdered by his father. And as a result, Scott in turn murders his father in prison. And that's how the CIA manages to keep him on their payroll. And he had wanted to leave the CIA, and this is how they basically kept him
Under their thumb.
Yeah. And eventually drafted him into the Kayless project. And I'm just very... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well,
I was going to jump into the question.
Yeah. What is it that causes someone who has such a terrible event in their past or a series of events? Do they think that what they do can ever atone for what they've done? So and I've already shown a lot of this in the story arcs. Scott is trying very hard to make up for what he's done and is genuinely upset by the fact that he just can't seem to do it. He has all these powers, he has all these great intentions, and in the end he has let down a lot of people, and he wants to make it right and suspects that he can't do it. So
interesting.
That's kind of what he's at. Yeah,
very Samson-esque.
Yeah, it could be.
So
yeah.
He has long hair.
So yeah. So
I was gonna go with Sisyphus, but pushing
so,
the boulder up the hill constantly.
Yeah.
Now, are you throwing in some pop culture references in here as well? Is there
Am I?
like this opening sequence here kind of has a throwback to a robot that says "I'll be back."
There are some. I think what's fun is there's a little bit of Captain America, Steve Rogers vibe going on, because this was a guy who left Earth. I think 1968 was when the rocket ship blasted off from Yuma for the Kayless project, so a full year before the moon landing. But he has aged about 5 years, but that is what 67, 88, 99, 108. So that's almost over 50 years on our time. So I have a fun line where he's in a cafe and the waitress says, is talking about some news coverage on television, and she's talking about 9/11, and he's like, I'm sorry I missed that, and also the moon landing, I missed that too. So he's this guy that looks like he's in his 40s, and yet the 50 years of where the history has gone by, and he has no idea what happened in there. So people are quoting movies, and he's like, I don't understand what you're saying. And there's some of that going on. So that's kind of fun. I love playing with that kind of stuff.
So So you hinted at it at the start that would I be accurate in suggesting that this is a somewhat of an alternative take on Superman?
Yes. Now I will say, what's funny is I wrote this other series, Cape Town, and that's more of a setup with a story that could probably continue in any other iteration. If we wanted to do a separate Cape Town series, we could just tell it a different story. But in this one, it's not like Superman in that you just have this guy and I get to throw him into different adventures. I'm actually moving this towards, like I said, a very specific conclusion. And so in that regard, it is kind of different. Like, there will be a final chapter. There will not be a sequel. So if that sounds ominous, then I'm doing that intentionally. So,
yeah. No. That's awesome. So it's I think it has the reference to the Superman oeuvre, but it takes it in a very different direction, which then makes it fascinating, particularly because you're encompassing history and you're encompassing politics and you're encompassing all these kind of other kind of tropes that are coming in, such as like the FBI, CIA, and like the behind the scenes kind of stuff. And it's absolutely fascinating how you pulled this all together. So, all right. Now this is issue 2. Is there any particular page that stands out to you in here?
I love this. I love the shot where the bartender shoots Scott in the eye with a 44 Magnum. There's just, at that point, I'm like, I just want to see what I can do to mess with this guy. Because, I mean, there's, I was at one point wondering if I could drop Scott into some lava or something. It doesn't, right there. I love that. Yeah, and it didn't really fit the story, but maybe I'll think of something in the next.
Well, you already burnt him up in re-entry. So.
Yeah, that's true. He did okay. Yeah, the thing that it's funny is I'm not really telling a story with all these varied powers. Nobody can shoot lasers out of their eyes or anything crazy like move fast. It's really just that Scott is stronger a little bit. He can, he hoists a pool table in that issue, and he's invulnerable, but he can still hurt, and that's kind of something I kind of never want to lose. Is that he is about he's super powered, but he's also about as normal as you can get. He's just strong enough to get hurt more. It's almost like people who can be hurt more are kind of magnets for anything you do to give them pain. So that's, I don't know, it's probably a good thing to do to any character in a story, is try to figure out what makes them hurt and then just kind of twist the screws a little bit. So,
you're a little sadistic there.
I mean, don't we all have to do that? I mean, can you think of a great comic book where people just go shopping for 22 pages? Yeah. So I actually heard Wonder Woman and Batman did that recently. Good for them. I hope there was some
drama comes from conflict. Yeah. Drama comes from conflict.
So yeah, but the thing that really like blows my mind with what you've done with this book is that you've made every scenario completely plausible. Right? Which is fascinating. So like there's a drama and there's like action and stuff happening, but everything is plausible. Everything has like, okay, this is a possibility in this world, and it's not completely out to lunch. Like the fact that he's somewhat invulnerable. Yeah, I mean that's a little bit odd, but it's still within the realm of possibility of whatever's going on in this world. That like, okay, well, something has happened to his physique that allows him to do something more than normal. But it's still all within the confines of all the stuff that goes on in the world. So like. That's it's so I find it so grounded. So what ends up happening, because it's so grounded, you kind of are living in the world. Now I'm going to be honest. When I first saw this book, I wasn't 100% sure on the art. I was like, I don't know about this. But the second I got past the first page, I got sucked in. There's something about this art that just sucks you in, and you are pulled into it, and then like. you are like, wow, okay, and then when you're done, you're like, what did I just read? Like, and it feels like it's this full entire world, and you felt like you were a part of it. And so, yeah, absolutely fascinating. Your writing and the art has gelled so well that it's made this very compelling universe, I guess, or world.
Yeah.
Can you tell he's a big fan of this Brent?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, and thanks. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'll be honest. When I first saw, especially the money shot, the second page of the first issue, where the lunar lander is flying towards Earth, breaking
absolutely.
up into orbit. I was like, oh man, this could be better than the story. So I was like, I better make sure that I'm putting my A game into this, because Lewis just really
like this just nails it out of the park, man. Like
it really does. I love it.
Yeah.
So it's the background of my phone.
Like and like okay, and then you wrote this transition, right? Like okay, these guys are looking up into space, and there's this ball, and then this. Like you wrote that, like, or did the artist come up with this?
No, I wrote it, and you can kind of see the little flash dead center in that last panel on the first page. Yeah, that was just, I just was like, it's almost like a Kubrick-esque kind of, throwing the bone kind of thing. I don't know, but I just remember seeing it and thinking, this could be really cool. And then that's one of the funnest things about this whole thing is, I think something's really cool in my mind, and then I tell Lewis, and he proves me right. I don't know. Actually, what he does a lot of times is he makes it look better, and I'm like, holy cow! I had no idea that could be so cool. So
yeah, I was going to ask you about that, because when you write it down, you've got a certain image in your head, and then you hand it off and hope that whoever you're giving it to, at least sees what you see. But I've heard many times it's usually better than what you visualized in your head. If it's a really good or gifted artist, a lot of times it'll come back and go, wow, that's even better than I thought. So exactly. Yeah, apparently this guy pulled that off for you as well.
Yeah, he's really good. And two, I just really have to, I mean, the fact is, I couldn't draw my way out of a paper bag. I mean, I never leveled up from first grade, and that's okay. It's good for me to know my limitations. It also kind of helps me to hold on to this loosely, because people can get really precious about their work. And when I'm collaborating with people and they bring stuff that I think is just really amazing, it is kind of humbling. And, I always need more of that. So, yeah.
So another thing I really appreciate is your transitions, and you're able to transition from like, here we are in the current time, and then we just transition into the past, and the way this is done, you just know, you don't have to. I, as a reader, don't have to think about this. It just happens. And you don't use any transitionary like text, really. Like you have like this little thing here. I hear, but the color, but even the clothing and like but even the clothing and all the stuff, and even the storytelling is a little bit different in the historical sequences. It just has a little bit of a different flavor than the modern sequences, and so it's fascinating to see that your transitions are so flawless that you get the emotion that's carrying over from the past into the future or into the present, and it's going back and forth, and it helps build all the backstory and what's going on, and what helps this world be plausible and real, which is just really, 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 really cool. It's very cinematic. Like if there's any production companies out there that need a movie, this is your movie. This is this thing is, it's your storyboard is here. Your entire thing is all set. It's here. You don't have to go any further. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Call me.
Yeah. So all right. So here again, here we're in the modern era, and we transition to the past. And back to the modern.
There's
just
cinematography going on here, definitely.
Yeah, it's just so well done.
And
then of course,
He's good.
Yeah. So or this could be a short run TV show, like a summer blockbuster.
Like Lost.
What was that well there?
Oh well, no, I have nothing to add. Yes, hey, I'm available. Sure, why not?
Yeah. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, if you notice in the first issue, the first page was a baseball diamond, and now we come back in the second issue. We come back to this baseball diamond. So Brent is also very good at dropping seeds throughout the story as to what's going on, and it comes back around later. So all right, so we're flying here in time. So let's jump to issue 3.
We got about 10 minutes before this Kickstarter we're talking about.
Yes.
Crowdfunder.
Yes, crowdfunder. Now, is there any particular page that you like in issue number 3 here? That
issue 3. Yes. Okay. This is the one where this mysterious group called Numinous hires and we're not really sure who they are yet. We just know they're a group that does not want Scott to go back into space, and they hire this guy who has like a rig that has a jackhammer for a fist, and he basically uppercuts Scott across a diner, and that is, again, I just like seeing my guy get squashed.
Ouch.
So yeah. But let me see.
Is this him here?
Okay, yes. Go to the next one.
Oh, if in doubt, just squash him some more.
Bam. Oh, there he goes. Oh, yeah. So Scott's down. And actually, then I think it's another page after that. It's when this woman who's a Marine who's been working with Scott pegs him with a guitar, I think, that she found also on the wall. Oh, and that's her friend gets shot. And that's kind of, there it is. I love that. So, I don't know. What's funny is, I'll admit to everybody, this was a new medium to me when I started writing it. Probably have quite a bit, maybe. I kind of had a word count that was a little high in my first couple of issues, and the action I didn't lean into in a huge way, especially towards the beginning. So for some reason, I love the action shots. I think
it's a learning curve.
Yeah, it really is, and I'm still there.
that said, the thing that kind of appealed to me in this book is that it is, don't take this the wrong way because I'm going to use a certain word, is it's dense, right? But not dense in the sense of like a blockage or you can't get through it, but it's got substance. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in here, and so reading it, you don't feel lost, and you also feel like you're getting bang for your buck. And when you leave it, you like I read for these are 22 pages or 23 pages or but after you've read it, you're like, I actually read a novel, right? Yeah. Like so both in the sense of the text and the visuals, like they are. There's nothing that is left out, and there's everything that needs to be there in order to tell the story, and like you can spend hours just looking at the book
Hmm.
because it's just so well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, and you feel like you get this full story that that doesn't leave you just kind of like right.
Right.
So
Yeah. I'll admit, I get frustrated when I read comics that are really light on words, and it takes me 5 minutes, and I feel like I waste my money.
right.
So, and I'm a writer. I love words. I think in words. I visualize, weirdly enough, in words. So, yeah, I kind of love wordy comics, frankly. So, the issue 4, the big buildup in this issue is that, and actually, I don't know if you can actually see it. Yeah, there it is.
And there's the baseball
our
diamond
first
again.
Yeah, the first 2-page spread I ever did, which was, this is what has happened. Starting in the first issue, is that terrorists have taken over Angel Stadium in Anaheim, and they have bombs secreted all throughout the stadium, threatening to blow it up if anyone even tries to come in. So that's kind of the government has now found out about Scott and having him land, and has asked him to go in and see if he can do something there. So that's what that story's about.
Yeah. So now, interestingly enough, I'm gonna suggest that there's a little bit of a tone change between the first 3 issues and then this one. Would I be correct in that? Is it the fourth issue now become a little bit more lighthearted and funny? Because I found it to be a little bit funny.
Okay, that's a good point. I'll admit, issue 3 was. I'm still kind of sad about issue 3 because there was a bystander who got killed, and on the very last page of issue 3, Camilla, who is his friend, who's in the Marines, she says, "Look what these people are doing," and Scott says, "I can't look. I can't. This is not my world anymore. I have to get back. I cannot be saddled with these people's problems." And in this issue, he finally realizes that he can't keep running. He's able to help. He had better help. And so in the course of that issue, yeah, there's more lightheartedness, I think, just because it's fun to see bad guys get swatted. But but you also see like a panel towards the end after, and again, it's been out for a while. I'll give you spoilers. So what happens is Scott straps a suicide vest to his body, walks in, gets all of the guys or the bad guys out onto the field, and detonates it. And it kills all them, but he's invulnerable. It can't kill him. So
I did the cover for that with depicting that. I helped do the cover.
Yeah. And the covers are great. And so the next page, you'll see that he's the flames are drifting off his body, but he's fine. And everyone's like, "We're saved. And Scott is happy to hear this. Yeah. Well, as much as you can in PG Comics. So, and you see he then has a flashback to where he was from, and he realizes that it's about to start again. So there's regret. There's still a regret and fear as to the road he's on, and you should never feel good in comics for too long. So
Yeah.
Can't have that.
So the thing that's interesting is then you carry on into Kayless ACHILLES Has Landed, and now you take the story. So this is the follow up, and so the book that you're launching in like 1 minute is number 3 in this series. Is it the final issue in this series, or is there going to be one more? Is it going to be another 4-issue arc?
There's one more. There is, in fact.
Okay.
I just I believe Roland has gotten the colored pages for issue 4. So,
wow.
Achilles is the ship that launched into space, carrying Scott and his friends to investigate the Kayless Rift. So it was also the ship that was burning up on reentry when Scott and his friends arrived back on Earth. So this whole second arc, Achilles Has Landed, is about more of what happened after they left Earth. Where did they land? What has been going on? They found themselves in the middle of a civil war, an empire, a fascist dictatorship has taken over this place. We still don't know where this place is. And Scott and his friends start to help them. And so we get to see this flashback to after they first arrived. And when they find out, and suddenly people are shooting at them with ray guns, and they're like, how come we're not hurt? And so that's when they start to realize that something has happened to them after they've come through the Kayless Rift for reasons they don't understand. Scott's not a scientist, he's a CIA agent, but there's a couple of scientists as part of the group of astronauts who are called the Safe Haven 5. And they don't understand what's going on either. They don't know where they are. Have they arrived on the other side of the galaxy? Are they on another planet? They don't know. All they know is they're now all invulnerable, and that's when they decide to start to help the rebellion. And we'll continue to find out what happened there. And in the last issue, we'll find out how they ultimately let the rebellion down, and that's why they went back to Earth, and that's all the spoilerage I'll give you for that. But for issue 3, we do, I think the second issue of Achilles Has Landed had Scott and his friend Marcus, who is another one of the Safe Haven 5, trying to find the remaining 3 guys. And they're working with a branch of the CIA who claims that they will help them find the rest of them and then send them back to the Rift if they do some wet work for them, basically. So they're in the mountains of Libya doing some Black Ops stuff, and that's always fun. And again, we get to have some more action for once, finally. Yay, action!
Yeah. I absolutely love the other planet pages. They're just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that
So
was
well
all Lewis and Leandro, because I'm just like, can you just make it look alien-ish, but not like, flying jellyfish crazy, more just like kind of,
Just
familiar,
weird.
but
Just
yes, weird. You have all these guys that have this ashy gray skin, but they're wearing clothes that look vaguely Earth-like, and that was just Lewis and Leandro doing just some really great work. So
All right. So now I think Roland told us to drop the link at 9:45. It's 9:48. So I'm going to drop the link, folks. Go
gonna
check
say.
out Kayless. It is such a fantastic book, and it is so cool. The story just has so much depth to it. Brent has knocked it out of the park. I'm telling you. Now, I'm going to go here to issue 1 of the Kayless Achilles Has Landed. Because this page here on the top, if people can see, there's this tree here that's kind of sticking out the side of an image, and these guys are discussing like, well, we see this.
Brazil.
So I'm going to ask you, is there possibly a biblical reference here to like something like the Tree of Life? Or is that giving too much away?
It's not. And what's funny is so the last page of the first arc, issue 4, had this tree floating in space, and I realized later I was setting myself up for trouble, because I even had a friend who was like, there's a tree in space. are you an idiot? And I'm like, oh, right, okay. Maybe I needed to say more. But no, basically what it amounts to is when people see this tree in space, what they're actually doing is looking at it through, it's like a window. And that's what the Kayless rift is. Everyone thinks we're seeing a tree, which means, and they explain this a little bit in the next issue, that this tree they're seeing is not a tree in space. It's like they're looking at a gap in space through a tunnel at another world, and this tree, which looks vaguely Earth-like, is on this world. So that's why we better send up some astronauts. Frankly, they send them up there to make sure that America finds it first before the commies. That's why they sent it up in the late 60s. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay. So actually, maybe touch on that a little bit. So you're bringing in. Explain how you decided to bring in like all this history and whatnot in order to inform the tale. Like, where's that? Is that coming from? Just like your personal interests in over time, or was it this? Okay, I need to make this plausible, so I need to figure out how to put this together.
There's some significant interest. I've read several books on the CIA, and it's really interesting. The perspective of history on the whole agency is, frankly, America really struggles with the idea of an intelligence agency. The idea that we have a department of the government that routinely lies and does violence in other sovereign countries, and that is actually possibly a good thing. In fact, the case be made that if we didn't do that, then it would hurt our country, maybe to the point of the breaking point. And it's just not American to want to lie or destabilize countries. And yet we have a governmental agency that does exactly that. Versus something like the KGB back in the Soviet era. They were better at it than the CIA was. The Americans had more money, but the KGB had a mandate to, frankly, be more cruel and to hurt its own citizens. And weirdly enough, a case could be made that it made the country, the USSR, more robust. So as I was thinking this through, I mean, there's just a real moral quandary of having this group who then finds a rift in space. And back then, presidents, one after the other, would, after the creation of the CIA, lamented the fact they could never rein them in, that they were so willing, they were so well funded and so willing to push the boundaries of what they thought needed to be done. Whole presidents, JFK, Nixon, they all were like, I'm trying to pull these guys back, and I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. So I just thought, what if they found out there's possibly life on other planets? They were so well funded, they could probably send astronauts into space and not tell anyone. And that's kind of where
it's all black ops off the books. So
off the books, so well funded, cash anywhere. Yeah. So I talk about that in the second arc of Kayless. But yeah, it's just really fascinating. At the same time, there's so many heroic stories of CIA agents who have done some pretty great things on behalf of America, but then history, who knows, who gets to decide if it's ultimately good or bad. And that's kind of fits very well with the good intentions of my protagonist in this book, who really wants to do the right thing and does things to do the right thing that could be considered the wrong thing and could actually end up screwing things up more. So that's kind of the things I was playing with. So a lot of my interest with the CIA just kind of comes into this.
Mm-hmm. So this was your first comic project that ever got produced?
Yep.
All right. So just so you know, you've knocked it out of the park.
You hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
So okay. So here's a question for you. How much massaging did you have given to you by Roland, or did Roland just let you like say, "Oh, that was perfect"?
He gave me a lot of great advice on the front end, especially for the first couple of issues, and I think I started to hit a stride after that. It really does help to know where I'm going with it, and the comics that I've enjoyed the most over my long career of reading comics is ones where I know that the writer even the creators of the book knew where they were going from the start and really built that in as much as they could. They used red herrings, they used sleight of hand, they did everything they could.
Foreshadowing,
foreshadowing, little visual clues here and there. So you look back, I mean, everybody loves to look back and go, oh, that's what he meant by that. And that, to me, is really a great hallmark of great storytelling. So that's just something I've been trying to do. And like I said, I have this destination in sight. I'm fully committed to seeing Kayless reach its last issue. And yeah, just can't remember the question.
Yeah, no, I was just asking how much input Roland gave you on the helping you write your original or write your first comic. So so
Roland knows what he's doing. It really helps.
Yeah, well, okay, but you say you work for a production company yourself?
Yes, I work with a missionary agency basically, and we don't make films necessarily for profit. It's a nonprofit. But I've written a lot of screenplays, several features. So I've had to read a lot of books about story creation, visual story creation. There's a lot of principles for screenwriting that apply definitely to comics.
Oh yeah.
At the same time, one really cool thing about comics is that it's so accessible. You don't have to worry about things like format. You don't have to worry about things like how to use prose to explain a sunset. That's what your artist is for. So you don't have to hire a whole crew to put your film together. You just need a penciler and an artist, or a penciler and an inker and a colorist and a letterer. It's a great medium. I highly recommend trying out comics.
Mm-hmm. So the fact the fact that you've written some stuff for screen probably has helped a lot, because it's a very cinematic comic. It flows extremely well. It is very well put together. It has an expansive world. It has a substantive character development there, and there's lots of history and backstory, and you care about what's going on, and it's also set in the plausible world.
It's rich and dense.
It's a very rich tale. Very well done. So
thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate that.
So I mean, like, I'm ecstatic that Achilles has landed number 3. Kayless is coming out. It is a very, very good tale. So if you guys need some entertainment and you guys want bang for your buck, get this book.
And the thing about
absolutely get this book.
like Go Fund My Comic, is you can also get back issues. If this is the first time you've heard of Kayless, you should be able, you can get the issue that's being crowdfunded, but you can also go back and buy the previous issues so you can get the whole thing, the whole story.
Yeah.
So
and absolutely get this whole thing.
I haven't been to the website, so I don't know what else is there. So you got some artwork and such. Pop over there and see what other additional things that we have. But anything that's been published by Silverline will be available there in addition to this particular comic book. But go over there and check this out. Definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
over there.
Yeah. Should we just pop that up on the screen quick before we shut down for the evening? Let's take a quick look here. Let's see if we can add that present.
To bring the page up itself, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta stop that screen, and then I gotta do this, and then I gotta do that. Now let's see if we can find it. Hopefully, I can find it without having to. Okay, yeah. Let's. I think that'll work.
Gotta love it.
There we go, and add stage. So there we go, folks. So here it is. Kayless AHILLES
Let's
has
see what else
landed.
is available over there.
So here's the story, and you got covers. You got 3 different covers available to you. There's some of the interior art that's coming. Oh, we got some action happening. So, all right. Oh, and you got original artwork, folks. This is available right now. So go grab this stuff. Now, one thing I was going to mention is this artist reminds me of like a hybrid of a couple of different people. One of the people that he does remind me of a little bit is P. Craig Russell. But he has a little bit more. This guy's a little bit more organic, but there's still kind of like some similarities in there. But absolutely amazing storytelling in here. The visuals are fantastic. So go.
I'm excited.
So go. Let's break the record on this one. Let's see if we can get this book funded like stat.
Yeah.
As fast as possible. So if you guys are out there watching, please go and buy this book now. Right now. And Rob, what else are these people supposed to be doing?
Well, everyone watching right now, either live or the recorded version of this, look below at YouTube and like and subscribe to us. We really need your support. The more people that do that, the bigger our outreach can be. So everybody watching this now, go down there, hit the like, hit the subscription link, and join the crowd for Silverline. Silverline Wednesday Wham. Please.
Wednesday Wham.
Yeah. You can find us on Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, Twitter.
Yes,
I think there's all sorts of different places where you can see us.
Links all over the place.
Yeah. So and you know what? And if we get enough of you folks, on the train here, maybe one day, this book, Kayless, which is the ultimate dad comic, could be up on the silver screen. So but you know what? I'm going to say something here. The storytelling in this book belongs in comics. All right,
absolutely.
So the way this story is done, comics is the place for it, because the way it flows and the way it works and the way it operates, it's made and built for comics, and it is an excellent experience to read. And when the Prestige edition comes out, I will probably be the first person to buy it. So,
Viva las comics.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Brent. Thank you so much, Barb and Rob, for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
It's been a wonderful time talking about Kayless and where it came from and what it's about. And hopefully I have intrigued enough people to go and purchase that book. Barb and Rob now have to actually go and read the book. So
I have all the books. They're in my huge stack.
I have the books and I've read the books. It's 2 different things.
Well, let me see. I can either read all my backstories of my books, or I can work on Divinity.
So
Yeah.
now your homework.
My comics or sleep.
So Barb and Rob's homework for next week is to read all the rest of the issues of Kayless and catch up. So then we can talk about it next week too.
Well, that would be cool to do that.
Yeah, we were talking about how dense they are. It'll take you like a month.
But They are so worth it. Pardon my cough there at the end. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have hit the top of the hour and we've gone a little over, but thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you again next week. And thank you so much for joining us, Brent. And as we always like to say here, make mine Silverline.
Hi, I'm Greg Horn. Make mine Silverline.